All right, I got 6 o'clock. Let's go ahead, call village board order. Please stand real quick. Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's thank everyone for their attendance, and if the minutes can reflect the role of the various trustees and department staff. Let's move on to item 3. Entertain a motion for the approval of 160 village board in the file, 1128 joint library board, 1214 park and rec board, 1219 finance committee, 1220 plan commission minutes as presented.
Make the motion. I'll second.
Motion and second, as always, comments, questions, clarifications on the minutes.
Jim, on the minutes on village board for the 16th of January on page 13. Under administrative report. It says spring primary is the 16th, it's the 21st.
Okay, we can get that correction. Any other changes? I mean. We can, I guess the question is do we concur that was what was said, or?
That's what it's written.
I know, but is that what was said, or is, that's the question?
I think we can.
All right, any other changes? That being said, motion is second, all in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. Anybody in the audience wishing to be heard on a non-agenda item tonight? Let's move forward. Item presented by the business. We have 2 resolutions, Dave and John. Come on over here. We'll start with Dave.
So the custom in the village is, we'd like to honor our staff and perform for in great service for the community and the village. And we just like to send them off with a hearty thanks and a proclamation. And so that's what we're here for tonight. The first one is for Dave Teddy from Public Works. And I'll just go ahead and read off the first couple sentences of this. And this is a resolution commending Dave Teddy for his 27 years of service to the village of Grafton. Whereas Dave began his employment with the village of Grafton on July 5th, 1995. And whereas Dave has been a member of the Public Works Department for his 27 years of employment. And whereas during this tenure with the Public Works, one of Dave's major responsibilities is operating heavy equipment for roadway, storm sewer, and other miscellaneous projects. Whereas Dave was also an integral part of the setup and behind the scenes work for most communities put on by the village, Celebrate Grafton and the Chamber. Now therefore be it resolved, the village of Grafton, the village board of the village of Grafton does hereby acknowledge with sincere appreciation and gratitude for the 27 years of dedicated service that Dave Teddy has provided to the community. And be it further resolved that the village board and village staff of the village of Grafton do hereby wish Dave the very best in all of his future endeavors. Congratulations.
Been an adventure and a lot of good memories. Worked with a lot of great people. And I'm honored to have been an important role. Thank you.
I've been on Celebrate Grafton since day one, and I can vouch for the fact that Dave has been instrumental to the success of all of our community events. Through Grafton, the Pumpkin Fest, and holidays. So again, thank you for all your work. Thank you. And John Hanson, our retired librarian. So John's been with the village for and you know why I know him. Yeah, why? That's right, when you were starting out. Yeah, who hired him? Pretty much you did. It was a library board, but I was on a library board at the time, and we had done a multi-state search. And we had interviewed many candidates, and John was the guy who who rose to the top, and I think we made a great selection when we hired John. Many years ago. But anyways, we also have a resolution for John. A resolution commending John Hanson for his years of service to the village of Grafton. Whereas John Hanson began his employment with USS Liberty Memorial Public Library in the village of Grafton on May 30th, 2000. And whereas John has served as the director of the USS Liberty Memorial Public Library for over 22 years of employment. Whereas during his tenure as director, John oversaw many changes to the library and its operations to ensure the highest quality of service and amenities were provided to its patrons throughout the Grafton community. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the village board of the village of Grafton does hereby acknowledge with sincere appreciation and gratitude for the more than 22 years of dedicated service that John Hanson has provided to the community. And be it further resolved that the village board, village staff, and the staff of the USS Liberty Memorial Public Library do hereby wish John the very best in all his future endeavors. Congratulations. Remember those afternoons and Saturdays and Sundays when we were stringing letter up for the new computer system back in the day? Yeah, wasn't it like more than a mile of cable? Yeah, we put a mile of cable and then for the children's library was put up. Anything you want to say for the group?
No, not really. I just want to thank everyone. I've really enjoyed the years here. Thanks for your support.
Thank you again, John.
All right, that being said, let's move on to item 6, resolution ordinance action items. Item A is report of the plan commission. We have 2 items of resolution and an ordinance. They're both fairly related. Jessica, do you want to get us off started on this one?
Yes. So at the December 20th, 2022 Plan Commission meeting, the Plan Commission recommended approval of an amendment to the village's comprehensive plan for the multifamily development at 754 Port Washington Road. The development, known as the Seasons at Grafton, encompasses about 46 acres on 3 parcels, and the land is currently in the town of Grafton. This comprehensive plan amendment is only for the Seasons and is not related to the Farmstead on Falls or the other proposed triangle apartment development. As I mentioned with the Farmstead, this action is completely separate from other future comprehensive plan amendments, and the board should judge it against itself only. Unlike some actions like conditional use permits and rezonings, the village has the utmost control over comprehensive plan amendments, and approving this does not mean the village has to approve others. The proposed comprehensive plan amendment would change the future land use map designation from office to medium scale multifamily residential to align with the proposed development. There are no text changes associated with this amendment because the current plan now includes those text amendments that were approved as part of the Farmstead on Falls. We have received concerns during the review process. They included traffic, property value impacts, school district impacts, demand for this type of housing, and impact on village services. Regarding traffic, I think I've mentioned before that a traffic signal or roundabout would be constructed at the intersection of Falls and Port Washington Road if the Seasons development were to move forward. Regarding impact on nearby property values, I have not found any evidence that high quality multifamily developments negatively impact nearby property values. Regarding school district impacts, the developer initially estimated that there would be approximately 28 to 33 school-age children living at the Seasons at full build-out. However, based on further research into their existing Seasons communities, Fiduciary has revised that estimate, and they anticipate around 16 children would live at the Seasons at Grafton. The number of children new to the district could be even less than that, and considering children under the age of 5 that are already living within the district itself. Regarding demand, other high-end apartment developments within Ozaukee County currently have an average vacancy rate of less than 2%, which is very well below what industry standards call for. Regarding village services, there are no village department concerns about providing services to this specific development. There are no increase in public streets, and public utilities are located nearby. Of course, as with the seasons, I will mention that, of course, there are cumulative demands on services that should be taken into consideration as the village grows. Paul Schmitter and Joey Wisniewski are here for fiduciary. They'll give a brief presentation. I would just like to finally note that there are, again, the 2 action items. The first one is for the public participation plan, which is required by statutes. The second item is the actual comprehensive plan action itself.
Okay, thank you. Paul, you're just gonna presentation, and again, if you can just give the mic from Jessica here.
Thank you. I'm Paul Schmitter with Fiduciary Real Estate Development. Thank you for the opportunity tonight to hear a proposal. As Jessica mentioned, Joey Wisniewski is with me, as is Eric Harmon and Mitch Lampy from EG Architects, who are the designers of the building. So just telling all of you a little bit about Fiduciary. We were founded in 1984 in Milwaukee, and we have approximately 400 employees. We are focused on residential multifamily development. We also manage all of our apartments as well. Major markets are Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay, Minneapolis, and Northern Illinois. Currently, we have 8,000 residences in 37 different communities. We are a long-term holder of our assets, with significant reinvestment in our properties. We have local leadership and investing. On that note, I think some of you are aware that we did develop the 1505 apartments here in Grafton. Along with that, High Bluff Townhomes, the far west side of Port Washington, and Arabella Apartments. So we are already invested deeply in the Grafton area. A couple more examples of things we've done recently. The Junction in Menominee Falls, 318 residences, more of a contemporary style design with very traditional 3 stories over parking. And the Arabella in Cedarburg, I just mentioned, 3 stories with some direct entry and a very high level of architectural detailing. The site we're looking at is on Port Washington Road, just south of Falls Road and the Cornerstone Church. It's currently about, I don't know, a third of it farmed, large area of woods, some wetlands, and an old farmhouse that we're gonna retain, and a single family house that will not stay. So those 3 parcels would eventually get combined. They're zoned A1 and R3, and the overall site is, the comprehensive plan is office. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Harmon.
Thank you, Paul. Eric Harmon with AG Architecture. We're based out of Wauwatosa, and we've been working with Fiduciary for the last 6+ years to develop the Seasons product, which is a really attractive multifamily option where we have 2-story, almost condo style development, as opposed to some of those 3 over parking corridor style buildings. This first shot just represents the clubhouse, which is the heart of the community. It brings all the residents together. Your first impression when you're visiting the site will be the clubhouse to check in, meet with marketing. And as a resident, you would come to this clubhouse for all of your interior amenities. If we go to the next slide, you start to get a feel for the front door approach of these buildings. As Paul talks about the site plan later, he'll get to show the front door approaching on Port Washington. But this image on the left really does a good job of showing what the Port Washington expression will be for the site. It's a series of front doors with sidewalk approaches to those units. Inside the units, we are looking at a nice high level of finishes, a little bit more gracious floor plans with dining areas and larger kitchens to attract those young families or recent college grads, somebody who's looking to eventually buy a home. That clubhouse has amenities that bring those residents together. They can sit by the pool in the summer or use the grill stations. The differentiator for the Seasons product is there's so much land to be available that you're able to spread out and start to have different amenities throughout the site. Interior wise, you've got some coffee, some gatherings, some lounge spaces, but great access and views to the outside. This is an animation that you might have to click on in the lower left-hand
I
corner.
clicked once. Do we click again?
Yeah, click on the lower left-hand corner. Thank you. So this is showing kind of the animation and fly through for the look and feel of this campus. As we've gone through this process, we've changed the site plan a little bit over the time frame, but the general feel is still intact. Again, two-story walk-up units. You can see the expression of that sidewalk and front doors. We do like to talk about kind of the trick-or-treating, or this time of the year more appropriately, Girl Scouts selling cookies. You're actually walking to an individual's front door, not to a large congregate building. The amenities, like we talked about with the pool, you can see the two-story buildings in the background, a lot of green space so we can integrate wetlands and water retention directly into the landscape and not just force it into the corners of the site. The goal is to bring all the residents and their friends and family to these amenities. Again, showing the exterior of that clubhouse, but also these types of amenities are distributed throughout the site so that not everybody needs to come here at all times. There's different areas where different groups of residents can gather for grill stations and other outdoor amenities. Coming up, we'll have the fly through where we're covering over the top of the forested area, which is a critical piece of this overall layout because we can incorporate the natural amenity of the forest with walking trails and really get people to be able to experience that and connect it to some of those different site amenities. Overall, we're looking at saving 75% of the green space on this whole site. So we're really not impacting greater development of the area. Here's an example of one of those remote grill stations, so people don't always have to go back to the clubhouse. Here they can take advantage of that space by the forest. One of the pieces that Paul touched on, but we are saving the existing farmhouse and incorporating that into the overall site plan, hopefully as an amenity moving forward. But again, here's a good representation of level of green space that we're anticipating having. And as we zoom out, you can see that natural sidewalk on the left, which would be along the side of Port Washington Road, all front doors and not just a large parking lot. I'm going to turn it back over to Paul now, but just one of the pieces that I wanted to focus on as we're looking at the site plan is that Port Washington experience where we do have the 4 20-unit residential buildings facing Port Washington prior to getting into the clubhouse. All of those are the front door feel. We're approximately 200 feet from the nearest residence, 100 feet from the edge of the road. And those are doing a really good job of taking the individual parking stalls for these apartments and putting them behind the building. So your impression on Port Washington, not a series of driveways or parking lots, but instead front doors. And then the garages and the access for those residents are coming internally and not expressed on the exterior. Paul, you want to create?
Thank you. As far as the rest of the site lays out, it's kind of linear going north to south, 280 units, 280 residences, 14 buildings. And again, like Eric said, they're all condo style, but they are apartment residences. Low density, 73% green space, and I think that equates to about 6 units per acre, which is about as low as I think we've ever developed. Again, premium building materials on all the buildings, and it's a mix: a studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom residences, all in the different buildings. Again, the private entrance for every residence. Eric touched on the garages. All the units have attached garages. There are some detached garages. Those are all screened by the buildings facing Port Road. Clubhouse with the fitness center, swimming pool, an enclosed off-leash, or not enclosed, but off-leash dog run, grilling stations, resident recreation areas, walking trails, all combined with enhanced landscaping, leasing office in the clubhouse, and a small car wash station down by the dogs. People also use them to wash off laws as needed. we're saving most of the woods, but we're not just ignoring it. We're providing walking trails and places for people to enjoy throughout the woods. As far as the need or the market demand goes, this chart was pulled together by Joey and some other folks at our office that we keep track of these numbers in real time. Ozaukee County has a number of very nice units, and we picked these because I think they represent some of the higher end units in the county. Right now, we're at 1.23% vacancy, which is a very small number, all things considered. And I think the demand also shows that both types of multifamily that are proposed in this area of the village right now are easily going to be able to have high vacant or low vacancy, simply because they are very, very different. Rents $1,550 to $2,850 with a $1,950 average rent. Projected household income of $78,000, and Grafton median income is almost identical to that. We are not seeking financial assistance, and this desired style of living, goes to a wide range of residents. Country club amenities, maintenance, snow removal, landscape is all included in this. So these units really do provide housing without the financial burdens of entry to ownership. We've already, and Jessica can vouch for it, because they can't be heard, already received inquiries about leasing, and we'll be starting a waiting list here as we move forward, hopefully. And I think it's been discussed a number of times at other meetings too, that the multifamily follows the jobs. So far, working with Grafton, back on 10/25, the conceptual site plan was reviewed by the Plan Commission. The neighborhood meeting on 12/6 brought up a lot of questions, hopefully a lot of answers as well. Comprehensive plan amendment meeting with Plan Commission on 12/20 recommended moving this forward. We also are aware that we're going to have another addendum to the traffic impact analysis. The installation of a traffic signal or roundabout at Falls Road, we're going to participate in that. And I did reach out to the consultant that's doing the analysis just to get some feedback. He mentioned that we would more than likely have turn lanes installed on Port Road, which would allow cars to slow down as they turn and pull out of the through lanes, which keeps the traffic moving through the middle of the road, and the opposite for the lanes and people accelerating back onto the road. We have not had any concerns from the police, fire, public works, or school district. And again, like Jessica said, that we're looking at less than 16 kids in these units altogether. Stormwater is going to be designed to improve the current retention. There's lots of opportunity on the site for that. And also, I think Jessica put together a sheet that you've seen that shows a 26% increase in residential property values near our 1505 apartments and townhomes. Impact fees over $2.2 million. And impact fees to the village would be generated by this project, and an estimated annual village tax revenue of $480,000. So with that, I'd like to turn it over. Thank you again for the opportunity tonight, and we will be available for any questions or other items that might come up.
All right, thank you. Jessica, anything you further add?
No.
So we do have representation from fiduciary. Does anybody have any questions for that group? Again, tonight's action is related to basically look at amending the map to update the use. Questions?
So it's indicated that there are attached garages for selected units, so not every unit will have an attached garage.
Yeah.
So that is correct. There are 20 apartments in each of the buildings, so each of those residents have direct entries. 8 of them will have directly attached garages. And then there are 3-4 individual separated detached garages on the site, which picks up about 10% of the rest of the parking stalls. The remainder of them would be on site in between those buildings.
And are the attached garages specifically for like 2 and 3 bedroom apartments, or is it random, or how is it?
It's distributed throughout the apartment type, so that there's a different ability between a 1 bedroom with a garage and a 1 bedroom without a garage, depending on the desire of those tenants. And then each of those garage stalls do have one of the parking stalls behind them. I know that was one of the questions of the quantity of parking stalls. So if you have a garage, you also have a garage directly or a stall directly behind that, not unlike a driveway.
Questions, comments? Okay, we have 2 action items. Item 1 is a resolution adopting the Village of Grafton Comprehensive Plan Public Participation Plan for 22-23 as a resolution, so that requires an offer motion in a second.
I'll offer.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Offer motion second, final comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That resolution passes. Item 2 is a motion to approve the amendments to the Village of Grafton Comprehensive Plan for 2035 related to the seasons development. It takes just a motion and a second. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion second, comments, questions, final?
Sure, I'll have a comment.
Mhm.
The board didn't really get a chance to have a comment like we did for the last development, for the farmstead. So I'm just gonna say that, I certainly like the development. I don't like how it came to us with the other developments that are currently have come in and are attempting to come in. Our comprehensive plan did not technically allow the previous plans, the last 2 that we've been looking at. I don't personally agree that there is a demand for this. There certainly may be. I'm concerned about the traffic, and I'm concerned about the people on River Bend that have been talking about traffic. And the people in Falls Crossing that have been talking about the traffic. So I'm concerned about that. For those reasons and others, I cannot support this in this spot.
Jessica, do you have any comments regarding the traffic impact analysis that's been done so far?
So the installation of the traffic signal at Falls and Falls and Port Washington Road is warranted at this time. The traffic counts do call for it. There was nothing in that initial traffic study that would indicate that there's anything unsafe or not able to be managed by a traffic signal. And as fiduciary, indicated, they will participate in an update to that study. And as well as incorporating, acceleration and deceleration turning lanes on, on Wisconsin, on Port Washington Road. So I think that it's always difficult when new development is proposed. I think that new development and given our proximity to Highway 60 and the interest that we've seen, that there will be increased traffic on Port Washington Road. I think that's almost a given unless we, put up gates at the north and south, entry. So it is a concern, but I think it will be safely managed through the new traffic signal.
Yeah, thank you.
Jim, yeah, I just want to say one thing. So when we did get information for the farmstead, it was the traffic study that was from the fall or December, October, something. And it was in consideration of what's built there already, River Bend, and with the farmstead coming in. But of course, it mentioned nothing about future developments after that. So here we are, we still don't have an updated plan, including the farmstead, and now we have seasons coming in. So to me, again, that's kind of backwards to me. We haven't really studied the impact of both of these developments. So for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, a new traffic signal is intended to be able to handle thousands of trips. And I realize that 280 units is an addition and it sounds like a lot of traffic, additional traffic added. But again, traffic signals are designed to handle much more than that. And the new signal will be designed to handle traffic, several decades in the future.
Okay, Dan.
Yes, a quick question, Jessica. What, again, I think this this specific ordinance deals with the comprehensive plan for the amendment to the comprehensive plan. Do we have a plan here this year to be able to work through the 2035 and do a revision?
Do you mean a revision beyond what's identified for the seasons?
Yes.
Staff has not been directed to propose an amendment cycle or an amendment process. I am happy to propose something to the village board or the plan commission about a review of our plan.
Yeah, perhaps wrong choice of words on my part was at least to have a review of this year.
Absolutely.
May I say something?
Give your name and address, please.
My name is Mary Hantak, 1114 Sunset Court. I sent an email maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah,
Thank you, Jen.
just don't try it. I sent an email, maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Just with the concern of the whole process that has occurred in the past several months. And I said, please put in place a review of the 2535 plan. I believe Jesse sent an email saying, rest assured, it will be done.
Okay, I mean, that's a fair question. I think, again, the community has changed over time and we definitely need to be able to adapt and we need to plan. So I think that's the one. Other comments, questions? Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed?
Nay.
Opposed? Show of hands, all in favor? Motion passes 5-2. Thank you very much. Again, this is just the first in a number of steps that have to be completed. We'll take all the considerations and issues that have been brought up, and we will continue to bring those forward to the plan commission and the village board. Let's move on to item B before the finance committee. Item 1 is a motion to approve the blanket acceptance of donations for the Drafting K9 Foundation.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Motion and a second.
Regarding the resolutions recommending Dave Setting and John Hanson, those take action on those.
Oh, okay, well, we'll go back to that, but let's finish this. Do we have a motion on the second? I think we did.
Motion and
Motion,
I'm sorry, was it trustee Krieger on the second or trustee Miller on the second? Okay.
and I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. And item 2 is the motion to authorize the fill-in pay rate of $33 an hour for the 3 full-time firefighter paramedics also serving the village of Sargent.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Again, this was explained quite a bit. Assistant Chief Topinski is here. Any questions? Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. And then all the excitement, we need to go back and do some business. So under item 5, entertain a resolution commending David Setty at his retirement. Offer motion second, please.
I'll offer.
Yeah, by Dave. Yes.
Okay, so
And
offered by
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
and second is,
trustee Anton
okay.
and
all
then
in
seconded
favor?
by Jim.
Aye.
Okay.
That resolution passes, and then entertain a motion to pass a resolution commending John Hanson on his retirement.
I'll offer that.
Well, second.
Offer
Motion,
second, all in
second.
favor?
Aye.
That resolution passes. All right, let's move on to item 7, department and officers reports. Jesse, want to kick it off?
Absolutely. Just a quick item of note here for the village board. A couple of special meeting dates are coming up. On February 15th, there will be a joint architectural review board and park board meeting to specifically discuss the Veterans Park Pavilion project. That is following the last park board meeting. There was a direction to, in essence, they determine the size and shape, so to speak, but really come back with updated elevations and stylings to make it really better represent Grafton and stand out a bit. So with that, looking for efficiencies here, looking to convene both the Architectural Review Board and Park and Rec Committee to discuss that item. They will then adjourn that joint meeting and convene separately to carry out their own standalone business items. The remainder of the Park and Rec Committee business, then the remainder of the Architectural Review Board business. That'll be coming up on the 15th. Then there's a special plan. Yes, sir.
Last time we had it here.
That has not been determined yet. We have figuring out the logistics at a staff level. We've got the date. We are figuring out the logistics. We could have it here, absolutely. And I think we may end up doing that just for ease of the committees then to adjourn and break apart, so to speak. So that is anticipated, but we have not set that specifically just yet. Then on February 22nd, there'll be a special plan commission meeting date. That is just a simple rescheduling to ensure timely taking up of different action items. The Public Works and Parks Department are actively advertising for seasonal employment opportunities. Please spread the word. We need folks to help us out for seasonal employment. So if you know of anyone who is interested, please feel free to spread the word and send them our way. We're happy to speak with them about the opportunities that are available. The clerk's office has been quite busy. Recently, they completed an on-site visit per the request of Village Point Commons. That is allowed per state statute for in-person absentee balloting. 80 in-person absentee ballots were cast. So the clerk's office, amongst the mailing of the absentee ballots, also conducted that in-person activity. In-person absentee voting does begin at Village Hall tomorrow and runs through next Friday. The spring primary election will be held at Grace Lutheran Church per usual. And again, as a reminder, that is encompasses state senator for District 8 and the Justice of the State Supreme Court, not the village board positions that are on the ballot later this spring. So that is my update for this evening.
I just have a question for Amber. How is it going as far as snow, salt, overtime? For the crew?
I mean, overall, well, even though we've had a big storm a week ago, we still are low on the storms for the season. Have had a lot of self events just with the freeze and the thaw and things like that. The icing, but overall, we're still pretty low on our salt usage.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments? Okay, let's move forward. Item 8, licenses. Item A is a motion to approve the operator's license and that two individuals and their places of employment are listed.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. And item B is a motion to approve the issuance of a Class B, Class C beer and wine license to Bovan Schulte, doing business as Bamboo Bistro.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes.
They didn't have any license before. Is this the first time to serve alcohol?
There was a change in ownership.
Oh, okay.
They did not serve alcohol before, so the new owners.
All right, that being said, let's move on to item 9, for the bills, entertain a motion for approval of village expenditure, $955,356.01.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
The questions that were asked and answered were actually distributed to the individuals tonight. We didn't get an email out, but any comments, questions, or concerns on the bills? Yep, Dan?
Yeah, this one, Jesse and Amber, regarding Intercon, I see that was for, there's an invoice for Intercon for $4,400 for brush chipping. I understand that's for the yard up on Lakefield. Is that gonna happen a couple of times a year, or is that?
It depends on their schedule. Last year they did it near the end of the year. This year they came in right at the beginning of the year to take care of it, so it may vary. I'm not sure if that will be the full cost for the year or if we will see.
Okay, yeah, because I think we did budget, $7,000 to $8,000 for that,
Yep.
somewhere in that area, and I just, I didn't know if that was a contracted fee for the year or half a year or for chipping.
That was for this one time, for the one time we may have them do it
Okay.
again.
And usually 1 to 2 times a year, as I understand. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on the bills?
Yeah, I have one. On batch 3, page 1. It's under the MasterCard. So we're paying for, this is correct to you, Amber, we're paying for exams for 4 of our
wastewater operators.
Okay.
Um. I'm trying to think in prior decades whether we paid for exams. I know we always paid for training. But I thought we made them responsible for their own exams, which,
Don't know historically, I'm sorry, you probably. know better
okay,
than I
so,
do. If
and
we
I
did or
think it's,
not.
I think it's great. I think, you know, in today's world, we have to do something in order to under the hiring difficulties, training on site is probably the best and only way we're going to get operators. But do we have anything that obligates them for some period of time? Rather than just train them and then have the chance or risk of losing them within 6 months?
Typically have an agreement. I'm not sure which board are taking classes right now, I'm sorry, but we do typically do an agreement with them, to have to pay back a portion of that. if they
Oh,
leave.
that sounds good. Thank you.
On the bill for the scoreboard installation. I see that there's, that it says that this was included with the estimated budget amount. Jesse, because I don't see Chad here. I guess I'm wondering, when we purchased the scoreboard. Did we also initially, contract with that company for installation?
That was the initial plan, and then because of availability, they simply weren't able to
Right.
install it in a timely manner. And so we never had to make that payment for install. And so we went with a different company who was able to get here quicker.
Jessica, can you send an email out to the trustees and just remind us how the process works when there's, an employee that has retired and we still pay their health insurance? Like, how does that whole process work?
Sure.
Is there an end time to that, or how do they send like the receipts for that?
Any questions on the bills? If not, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 10, I can motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion in the second, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.